Hello and welcome to Watkins Glen for round 12 of Endurance for Amateurs. We're in the lovely state of New York for a 100-minute race in these wonderful GT3 cars, and I'm going to be joined in watching this beautiful race by Zach Purcell.
Hey, yeah, it should be a good one. We're getting right to the end of the season. Some of these storylines are starting to finish up, and we're starting to see where the drivers actually shake out in the overall standings.
Yes, indeed we are. We crowned two champions last week. That'd be Christopher Newby and Terry Cowger Jr. Sorry. Both great seasons from them. They were able to wrap it up a week early, although we have drop weeks, so, whatever. Both wrapped it up in the... Oh, no, 2 weeks early, sorry. I was going to say penultimate, but no, 2 weeks early. And now we have the bracket to watch, and that matchup is going to be Jeff McDonald versus Zachary Nurnberger for the AM class, and then we're going to have Terry Cowger Jr. versus Mr. Marcus Osborne. So Terry needs to beat Marcus 2 times to become bracket champion for this race and next race. And then Jeff McDonald, who's currently on pole. Terry Cowger Jr. is also on pole, but, I mean, who's surprised? Jeff McDonald, who is currently on pole, has to beat Zachary Nurnberger twice to become bracket champion.
Yeah, we got both the guys who need to win today doing really well in qualifying so far. Obviously, Terry's got a pretty large gap to Langenberg behind, but Real and Newby are right on McDonald pace-wise.
It's not far apart, no. Less than a tenth. So, I'm excited to watch racing here. Watkins Glen is always just a wonderful race. It's usually our season finisher, but not this season. We'll still have a race to do at, where are we going?
Sebring for the final.
Sebring. That's an interesting one. Can't wait for that. But
Yeah, there's a lot of guys good at Sebring in this league. It's been run a lot, as has Watkins Glen, of course. But it's a little bit of a trickier track, I think, than Watkins Glen is, and there's some definite experts.
yeah, both tracks are home to prestigious endurance races. The 6 hours of Watkins Glen, and double that, and you'll find yourself at the 12 hours of Sebring. So, can't wait.
So, twice as much running at the Sebring, then.
That is true. One man that dominated at Sebring, if I could find him real quick, is this man right here. Paul Boyle took a win for Pony Express back when he was on the team with Bryce Anderson. He's hoping he can do it again tonight, although he's down in 7th. A good 7.5 tenths off of Terry Cowger Jr.
Well, Keith Roycroft there in 4th at GTDM, he was part of our second place Sebring for our race next week, but he was part of our second place team, our effort for that, so keep an eye out for him next week as well.
He was, although he was in LMP2, so a little bit different there, but it should translate. Who else do we have? Show off some of the new paints here tonight. Mr. Vahil running his very rainbow Mercedes. I know Don McCloy brought out a new Williams paint.
Back when they could do the cigarettes.
Back when they could, yes. The Camel
He's
cigarettes.
in 3rd place, by the way. This is for sure his best qualifying session of the season so far.
Yeah, seems like it. Ryan Glover, who is usually in a FAF Porsche, is now in a Multimatic Porsche. Does that have something to do with Patrick Ripley? Possibly?
Maybe. He's not. I also don't think we have Patrick Ripley here today.
Is he not? No, I don't see him.
No, we would be seeing that. We'd be seeing that Audi out there.
Yes, that great GTO 90s livery that he's run since the beginning of the season. Not here tonight, unfortunately, but I'm sure we'll see him next week at Sebring. Chris Walker's a new name.
Yeah, Chris Walker, one that I haven't seen at least in a while. And then as far as new names, also Jonah Collin is a name that I'm not familiar with, and he's here in the session as well. Though I've seen him have some connection issues, unfortunately. So hoping that he can actually start the race, but he's been dropped a few times.
Yeah, he's currently sitting in the pits. Has not made it in just yet. But we've got about 8.5 minutes left of qualifying, so hopefully he can get in soon and throw down a lap.
It should be a really good race. It's a very racy track, one that has lots of space. There's really no super thin sections, and going side by side is possible through almost the entire thing. And it's pretty simple. I mean, if you just look at that track map, I think you can kind of tell. I mean, there's some expertise needed, especially for like the bus stop chicane. But for the most part, or turn one, for the most part, it invites that raciness because it's so simple. I hope we have a race similar to what we had with Fuji a couple weeks ago, where it's simple enough that it lets the drivers really challenge each other.
I hope so. We were going to ride on board with Daniel Real, but he's going in the pits. We're going to take a lap through the eyes of Mr. Jeff McDonald, current pole sitter, coming up here on the back of that Golf Porsche. I believe that is... not sure. Anyways, coming up to turn one, right around that 200 board, going to turn it in, try to use just that second line. You're not supposed to go out that far. You could at the with the old scan of this track, but not really now. Taking it up the hill, flat out if you can, and just hold it down on the throttle for a long time here. We're going to go all the way to the bus stop chicane. He's going to let off a little bit.
Easily, yep.
It's not his greatest lap, I don't think. All right, so we will try again as Terry Kagger Jr. comes around through the boot. A short little wait here, but this is the other half of the lap. But I feel like if anybody, Terry's the guy to watch.
Yeah, I mean, certainly he's been in form for quite a long time now, and sitting in on pole currently yet again with just over 6 minutes to go.
All right, so let's hope he doesn't go into the pits, and we'll try this one more time with him. So, flat out down this straight. Obviously, start-finish straight, pits to your right. Coming into this first right-hander, looking for about that 200 board. Hard on the brakes, and then roll it through. Try to stay on the left side of that curb. You can see it's kind of split in half. Don't go too wide, but you can use a lot of that curb. Run it up the hill, stick tight to the curb, and then just drift out left, turn left, keep tight to the curb again, and once more on the curb. Keep it flat out all the way down to the bus stop, and you're going to be looking for about that wall break there. Use decent amount of curbs here. It'll allow you to do it. And now this carousel, it's a tricky corner. There's a lot of different lines you could take. Terry likes to go on the inside, keep it tight, power it down out. You're going to look on the right side. There's a little mark on the grass, little pavement patch there. Keep it tight into the curb, power it out, straight, drift over to the left side, and get ready for the uphill. Looking about 150 there, up the hill, tight on the curb, power down really efficiently here. This is where it really matters, into this nice long straight. And then we're going to be looking to go right here. So about 125, 150. Keep it tight in again. Roll it out on the power. This corner is the hardest right up here. No real braking point, just looking on the ground, looking at the grass for anything you can possibly find. Keep it tight in, fast out. This is a high-speed corner here. Almost don't need the brakes. Just a slight lift and roll it through. Final corner, looking for the break in the wall there on the left, and coming and rolling it through. He's going to go into the pits. But you would keep it flat out there generally.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the tires work on this track. It's not too hot. It's just a little bit over 80 degrees Fahrenheit on the track right now. But it's certainly, there's some turns in there that really put a stress on the tire, especially the one you see right there that they're in. It's a long right-hander that puts some work on that front left for a very extended period of time.
Yeah, it really does. It reminds me of Puan in Spa. It's just constant tension for a sweeping corner, and after a while you're gonna see some people start to push their way through there instead of grabbing the ground and turning. Keep an eye out for that. Tire strategy may come into play here tonight. Ooh, Claybot going a little bit wider than you may like.
Couldn't
Almost saves it.
Yeah, tire strategy has been a thing for the last few weeks for sure, and interested to see if that continues. But it's been a discussion topic for every race for the last 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's been more apparent than it has been expected to be, I think. You're really seeing, like, Road America with, who was that? Borland? No. Whoever was chasing down Terry, I think that was...
It was Borland.
It was Borland, okay. So whoever was chasing down Terry, his tire strategy call, if not for a few minor hiccups, could we call them, he probably would have caught Terry. And
yeah, it seemed to be the right strategy decision. Just had made a mistake late, but it's not super common that we get the tire swap actually being the correct call.
Especially in E4A with these, shorter fuel tanks. Generally people, they're going to take it. They'll take it earlier, later, whatever. But it's just, now we see it a lot. I'm not sure where I was going with that.
I do think that temperatures are planning to go back down a little bit. May eliminate that element of it in the future and just focus on the on-track driving. There's still, again, tire conservation still helps, but it may not get to the point that actually spending the time to change your tire will help.
Yes, hopefully we see those temps go down and stay down next season, because it's been a lot hotter than I think we intended over a few races this season. And
it's got nothing on though for temps. Our race on Monday, the Gateway track was like, I think 125 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
Melting hot out there. And that was the lowest. Again, those tires are very hard and they're not super long races that we run. But that's, I think, the most worn I've ever seen them.
Yeah. So Alex Penn in chat, he's calling a win for Gareth McAllister. So he had a really good race in Suzuka, the 10-hour race this weekend, and he's got the momentum. So Alex Penn saying Gareth McAllister tonight. Where is he on the leaderboard? Gareth McAllister's down in 14th currently, but he is on a flying lap, so maybe he can improve that.
Yeah, I mean, proudly representing the Ford GT. Not the easiest car, nor the best car, unfortunately. But it's still possible in a 100-minute race to win with anything, really.
It is. All it takes is all the people in front of you to crash out. Now, Gareth McAllister may be down in 14th, but I think we may be able to chalk it up to the Ford, because Marcus Osborne, who, not in his best interest tonight, given that he's in the bracket battle, went back to his Jimmy John's Ford. We saw him trying Daytona, the first race of the season in it, and he quickly gave that up. So, I don't know. We're going to see, but 0.6 slower for both Fords. I don't think it's just a driver error there.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised to see him go back to it, because it certainly seemed like that was going to be a one-time try, and it was gone forever. But I don't know, maybe just the fact that he's certainly in the points. He's right in there in the thick of it. Currently sitting 9th, but very close. I mean, 6th through 9th basically are all really close to each other, and then especially when you factor in drop weeks, he gets benefited more than some other drivers in that regard, with some races to drop from earlier in the season.
He definitely does. If we take a look at the points, I think we'll see that Brad McCombs and Andrew Neri are tied at 263 points. So are they both here tonight? I think they are. We'll have to keep a lookout for both of them on track, because they are battling for 11th place.
Yeah, but Combs has the benefit of having a higher maximum total, so basically meaning he's got worse races in the rest of the season to drop than Neri does. So that over these next 2 weeks will start to shake itself out some more. For example, one that I think will be interesting to follow for this race is that Kelly in GTDM right now is in third place for the standings, while James Foreman's in second. However, and let me see the points difference. The points between them, Foreman's at 382 and Kelly's at 353.
About 29
However,
points.
yeah. However, because of the races that Kelly's missed, Kelly actually has a higher possible maximum points than Foreman. Foreman's been extremely consistent, has basically no bad races, and for that reason, he isn't getting any bad scores dropped. But Kelly will, and Kelly can technically score 10 more points than Foreman on the year. But Newbie and Cowger have, as you said, already sealed their championships.
They have indeed, and by a decent margin. Newbie, if he were to win the next 2 races, could score a total of 463 points. And if Kelly won the next 2 races, he could score a total of 426 points. So that's like a 40-point gap, just a little bit under, from both of them if they were to score max points for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and the context, a race win is 49 points. So, I mean, that's like an entire race between. That's pretty wild.
That's a great season from Newbie. Now, I'm pretty sure the gap is a little bit bigger in GTD Pro. Let me just take a look. Just given the... Well, it's about the same, actually. Cowger Jr., if he were to win the next 2 races, he could score a total of 479 points. And Langenberg, if he was to win the next 2 races, he could score a total of 434. So,
yeah, slightly closer.
Slightly closer. But Cowger Jr. actually has a chance of winning all 9 counted races this season. But
I will say there was another champion on Sunday in Max Verstappen who had secured first place already, and in the second to last race was trying to set the record for most races won in the season and had an incident.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not an open.
So let's take a look at our grid. Terry Cowger Jr. sits on pole for GTD Pro, and Tyler Langenberg is going to take that second spot next to him. Don McCloy follows them with Daniel Real on GTD Pro. GTD Pole. Paul Skip follows him with Aaron Claybot, Nick Paletti, Jeff McDonald. We've got Paul Boyle, Christopher Newby, Brad McCombs, and Ryan Tyler down in 12th.
Following them will be Adrian Garcia Vigil and Keith Roycroft, Mark Dillon Jr., Tony Watson, James Foreman and Richard Curry, Michael Della Sala, Andrew Neri, Sasha Kempter, John Kelly, James Kingsbury, and Chris Walker.
All right, following them, Daniel Hingley, Zach Nurnberger, Ryan Glover, Gareth McAllister in the Ford, Marcus Osborne also in the Ford, Stephen Shepard, Joel Lee, Dave Ferrara, Atticus Middleton, Daniel Barnett, and Jonah Colin did not set a time, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've seen. I don't know if he's able to make it into the session or not. I don't know what flag that was for Chris Walker. That was I don't recognize what that flag was.
I'm not sure. Now
His club says he's Michigan, but anyway.
Huh. Is it the Michigan flag, maybe?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you.
We'll have to ask Zach Nurnberger or Mark Dillon Jr., our Michigan residents. Said Gareth McAllister crashed. Let's see if anything happened. Just SDK, of course.
Yeah, they're just letting the cars who have the end of line go to the back. But by the way, Dan Real kind of came out of nowhere with that pole. Seemed like Jeff McDonald had it sealed for a while, and I don't remember. I know Keith Roycroft qualified very high in the overall field at Fuji, but I don't think he was as high as 4th. I think that might be the highest we've seen an AM driver qualify overall so far.
I think so. Now, at Fuji, we had cars running up in P3 for a while, so it's possible that Daniel Real could get that podium like the people couldn't do at Fuji, but I suppose only time will tell. And
He's got 3 cars between him and Jeff.
we'll have to see in about 100 minutes time.
But we're seeing all the typical protagonists at the start of, especially the GTD Field and GTD Pro. So this will be a good race to watch.
I am excited. So let's take a look. Daniel Barnett is gonna play the caboose of the field for the start. Not a bad spot to be, though. You can kind of avoid all the first lap drama and kind of go at your own pace. So, no passing into, I believe, turn 1. I know Zach always has better info than I.
I did forget to verify that one. I believe it is just turn 1, but there's not really a passing opportunity through the S's unless you were really close in turn 1. So it probably won't be until we get to the bus stop.
All right, and any accidents that happen on lap 1, whoever's at fault will end up with an end-of-line penalty, similar to Hingley, Craig, and well, I think Barnett's the reason he's back there is because he had a end-of-line penalty.
Track temperature's gone up a little bit since qualifying, so waiting to see how much hotter it gets. Currently 11, a little bit after 11 a.m. in the sim.
And it's 4 times speed, isn't it? Is this a day to night race?
No, it should be planned. It'll finish before it gets dark.
All right. Well, one more corner, and then Terry Cowger Jr. is going to lead us off. Don McCloy's beautiful Williams livery in the back there. I really like that. Starting third, but Terry Cowger Jr. has control now. No passing into turn 1. John Kelly's into the pits. Green flag. Terry Cowger Jr. is going to lead him down to turn 1. There he goes. Nice and smooth there. Gareth McAllister seems he's got some issues going on. Ooh, that's Marcus Osborne just absolutely crashing into him there. That's not going to fare well for him. Other than that, I think most people survived. It's looking all right back there.
Front of the field, but doesn't surprise me.
John Kelly into the pit lane, out of the pit lane for some reason.
It's not the first time he started from the pits. He probably did that on purpose. He did that last week, I think, and got a podium.
Very possible. Let's take a look here. What else do we got on track? Daniel Real getting challenged by Paul Skip as we go up in this nice sweeping right-hander. Not much, though. Brad McCombs, Christopher Newby together on track.
Yep,
here we go.
Pros trying to get around
side by side, Paul Skip and Daniel Real. Real has to let him go through, and Clayball's probably going to try while he's there as well in that Chick-fil-A BMW. Can't get it done, though. He's going to want to get by as fast as possible so he doesn't have to deal with it. But not on this occasion. Further back, Brad McCombs.
Yet again, we're looking at a field full of Porsches and BMWs.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only top 2 cars there.
It's Porsche BMW for amateurs in these later races here, to quote Paul Boyle. Daniel Hingley here, he goes on, that is, well, Joel Lee, I believe. No, Dave Ferrara in his Liqui-Moly Ferrari.
Yeah, Hingley, one who had to start from the back with the EOL, so drivers having to fight their way through the field doing that. There's Tony Watson
in the
trying to make a move
Porsche.
on Mark Dillon Jr.
Welcome back, Tony. We haven't seen him in a while. Nice to see his classic Brumos Porsche livery back.
Racy right off the bat, too.
He always is.
Different class for those two, but
here they go.
Getting by is still urgent.
That's tight. Zach Nurnberger in his lava livery there, duking it out with Sasha Kempter and Kingsbury as well. Oh, Ryan Glover behind him, trying to make something work.
A lot of Mercedes there in that mid-pack.
There are indeed. Andrew Neri, James Kingsbury, Kempter, Nurnberger, and Joel Lee all sporting the Mercedes tonight as Claybaugh tries to get past Real just where Paul skipped it not too long ago. On this occasion, though, it's looking much better for Claybaugh. Although, I don't know, fighting back from Real. Nah, he's going to let him have it.
That's McDonald right there. So Real can't afford to lose hardly any time. He's got his competitor immediately behind him.
Lucky for him, though, McDonald's going to have to slot back in behind Paletti as opposed to in front of him. So he's still got a car separating him, but there are, a few cars to give him a slipstream up to Mr. Real. Real overtaking Claybaugh once again. Wow. He's racy tonight.
Real has a lot of pace. He didn't qualify up there for no reason.
That's Watson and Roycroft going at it in turn one. Watson's going to get right by. And now directly behind Roycroft is Mark Dillon Jr., and that's also Daniel Hangley. Richard Curry. Sorry.
Yeah, those three drivers, and James Foreman as well, all there right behind Keith Roycroft, fighting for that fourth place position. Keith's a little bit off of Newbie in front.
James Foreman, one of 7 drivers that have competed and completed 5 laps in every race this season.
Also the driver who I believe has the most safety points.
Yes, James Foreman, our safest driver in the AM category. He's only missed safety points 3 times.
And we've had some tough races to hit. I mean, we saw Spa basically half the field get a drive-through. So, I mean, to have it in almost every race, very impressive.
This is our safest driver of the league currently, Nick Paletti. He only missed safety points 1 time, and that was at the aforementioned Spa. So that's Kingsbury going against Nürnberger into the boot. Can't get it done, though. Has to back out slightly. Things are still tight up towards P7. And, is that...
Ooh, that's a big... That's
that is Don McCloy. Let's take a look at what happened to him.
No damage.
Thought I saw smoke.
I did just thought way in the background as well.
Don McCloy entering pit lane for a 2-second stint in the pit lane. So let's take a look. Just a dry spin. Got on that curb a little bit too much maybe. And kept it out of the wall very nicely. Good job from him. Ooh, Nick Paletti right on the tail of Jeff McDonald there. Looking to get by into the bus stop. It's a risky place. Paletti does not want to risk it. He's backing out way early. Smart man there.
I haven't seen a lot of, at least for the pros, there's no driver who's made up more than 1 or 2 spots. Obviously, we saw Don McCloy there drop quite a few spots, and he luckily has no damage, so he should have the pace to try to fight his way back up there. But a little disappointing after a really good qualifying outing. But there's some more shakeup in the AM field. I see, at least on the overall standings, Nürnberger, he's up. Ryan Glover, Joel Lee, Steven Shepard. Some of these are, helped by guys crashing out or whatever, but still very impressive to make your way up through the field this much just 6 minutes in.
Yeah, our mass gainers, like you mentioned, Zach Nürnberger and Joel Lee, both up 4 places from the beginning of this race in class. So really solid start from them, looking to make something out of it as this race progresses.
Yeah, again, to keep an eye on our qualifying time that we had. Terry Carey Jr.'s whole time was a 1:42.5. Dan Real's was a 1:42.9. Which, by the way, that's also incredible. Only a 4/10 gap between AM and Pro for Daniel Real there. But as you can see, the fastest lap we've even had is 1:43.3. So it heated up since the start of most of the fastest laps in qualifying were done at the start, and it's heated up since ever so slowly. It's now, at least I have mine in Celsius. It's even so. It's probably around 85 or 86 now.
It certainly got hotter. It's about an 87-degree track temp. But comparing to last year, where Aaron Claybaugh won the race, pole was 142.190, and that was set by Mr. Nicholas Paletti right here, who's currently sitting in P5. And he also took the fastest lap of the race, and that was a 142.511. So already slower than last year.
Yeah, I don't know what the. I mean, it must have been something with the updates. Certainly, Paletti has yet to have really a bad race. He's been competitive in every race this season. He's been up there with some of the most podiums, but I'm surprised I have not seen him win a race yet.
I mean, I think he'll get there. 0 wins, 0 poles, and he's only led 7 laps out of Terry Geiger Jr.'s 329. But he's still 3rd in the championship, which is really impressive. Just
Yeah,
really solid.
even further, of course, he still does have some vying to do with Langenberg. They're very close on points, very close on maximum points. But for the most part, unless something goes horribly wrong, those will be our top 3. It's just Geiger Jr. is going to get first, and then the battle of second and third is going to be between Langenberg and Paletti. Whoever performs better over these last couple races. Langenberg has the advantage on maximum possible points, but Paletti is certainly within touch.
Yeah, he definitely is. Paletti only 14 points back. Now, I think we should be watching Aaron Claybaugh and Paul Skip. We're currently right next to each other on track. They are tied at 334 points. So we could see something really, really tight come if we see them side by side on track.
And both drivers, again, have had a very solid season. It's not too many big mistakes, and so again, their maximum possible points also very, very similar. Man, look at that, Don McCloy. This is what happens, if you make a mistake early, you get stuck behind so many guys. You have all this pace, but you can't get by.
Nice and racy move there from him, but he doesn't get the exit he needed to make it into the corner, and he's gonna have to go wide. Oh well. Ooh. McCloy got a great exit out of there somehow. And he's got the inside line, which is what you want for this corner. Side by side. Touching, but he gets it done.
Oh, over heels. Got the inside. He couldn't quite. All right, he looks like he'll be safe. Going down the chase there. This is the only thin part of the track, really. I guess I said it wasn't thin anywhere. It's kind of thin there. Which sometimes, especially coming out of that corner, you said it was the hardest turn on the track. Drivers will oversteer and spin, and then they just get stuck there. And luckily, we haven't seen that happen. I know we've had it happen on lap 1s a couple times before, a spin just being a roadblock there.
Yeah, nice little battle for B10 and Pro. So we're going to turn our attention P4 for GTD and between Mark Dillon Jr., Lee Gonham, and Keith Roycroft, who just got his first win. not Lee Gonham, no. Who just got his first win this season, not too many races ago. Paul Boyle and Brad McCombs are going at it, and Brad's going to edge it out as they get to the bus stop. Ooh, Ryan Tyler getting very close to the back of the Paul's rainbow Ferrari there.
Yeah, it's really easy to stay close to the drivers in front. There's nowhere in this track that really, other than maybe the bus stop, there's really nowhere that starts to separate the cars where it's just not safe enough to follow. Part of that is because of how wide the track is, so you can kind of take a slightly different line. But for the most part, this is one that we can see drivers stay next to each other for a really long time throughout the race. And, I mean, I think that we're going to be seeing this for quite a while, these sub-second gaps.
Yeah, already reminding me of Fuji with just how tight everybody is and how many trains we have. So I think we're in for a really good race in the coming hour and 40 minutes. Tony Watson pulling out, looking for the move. Can't get it done. There's a little bit of grass on the track there, interestingly. I think that's just graphical. Dave Ferrara and John Kelly way at the back of the pack. Only Daniel Hingley and Atticus Middleton behind them. But still racing hard no matter where. It's all over the field.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a little bit larger gaps there at the front of GTD Pro. We obviously saw McCloy make a mistake earlier, but everyone else, it's just been I mean, Langenberg's staying within just about a second of Cowger, and that's the closest within the top 5. Everyone else is about 2 to 4 seconds apart, which is not a lot, but it's interesting when we're seeing so much of this midfield right next to each other.
And that's Tony Watson. Going into the bus stop, let's see, probably got a little bit too much air. Oh, no. Almost hit Chris Newby there. A little bit too much air, and it's a flat spin for him. No damage, though, so that's really what he needs. Nick Paletti, oh, that's Daniel Real.
That's Real. Oh!
And Paletti, because of that, having a little trouble. Jolie here. Into the bus stop. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Almost hit another car. Oh, and he's upside down. Going into Andrew Neri there. That's who he almost hit there, James Foreman. Oh, he did.
Oh, he got touched.
He got tapped.
Wow.
As he blinks a little bit. And not what you want. Mark Dillon Jr. This is what happened to him. Similar spot to Nick Paletti and Daniel Real. Just a little bit too much mojo, and he's almost going to hit Real.
That's why.
Oh, boy. Jolie.
Wow. We're seeing stuff.
Is on his roof. Jolie is on his roof. Mark Dillon Jr. goes off track once again. That's just the same thing. And all right, I think we're caught up now. All right.
Calm down now.
So, lots of action going on, as you can tell. Obviously.
Wow. Yeah, so Dan Real dropping a bunch of spots. Paletti's into the pits.
As is Mark Dillon Jr.
Mark Dillon, yeah. Jolie also, I believe, towing. Because, oh, yeah, he was upside down. Of course he's towing. Of course he's towing.
Don McCoy is getting really racy in there. See him almost sending it through the bus stop on Christopher Newby there.
Yeah, I mean, again, he started in P3, so he's currently P8. Zeph definitely has made some gains, but he's got a lot more to go.
Christopher Newby has worked his way up to P2, starting in P3. Of course, only being beat currently by Jeff McDonald, who was our provisional pole sitter. Now, who started on pole? Was it Daniel Real?
Daniel Real, yeah. Real was 4th overall.
So that position has been given to Jeff McDonald, although he's 5th overall. So not quite, but similar.
Yeah, that's still really impressive. Something that we haven't touched on. When we saw Keith Roycroft running up really high at Fuji, it eventually, especially after like the first pit, they started to filter back a little bit. And I'm interested to see if McDonald's able to stay up there. Again, he's part of this bracket challenge with Nürnberger, who Nürnberger's made up some of the most spots of the race so far, but McDonald needs to win to force a rematch next race at Sebring. I almost said next week. We do have next week off because of Thanksgiving.
Yes, Thanksgiving and recess, although O4A will still run if anybody's interested in that. Cars
this is my the camera view here doesn't show that those turns justice. The S is there. It's so much fun how uphill they are. It truly feels like a roller coaster.
Side by side, Zach Nürnberger coming through the left window. Just has to back out to Ryan Glover. Really fast-paced turns. I love one of my favorite sequence of corners is bus stop into the carousel, especially in the LMP2 cars.
Yeah, Glover, by the way, another driver who has made up a ton of spots this race. Nürnberger, Glover, and Shepard, at least for the overall positions, they're up 9. I don't know what they are in class, but really impressive gains so far.
Yes, we've got Glover and Nürnberger up 7. Let's see, Dave Ferrara's up 5. And Steven Shepard up 5 as well.
Interested to see, we got a little bit more of a gap starting to form with Terry Kyer Jr. and Tyler Langenberg. A lot of that came on the previous lap. Previous lap they were 7/10, or Tyler Langenberg was 7/10 slower, but then that lap that they just did was basically equal.
So that's how the gap has played out in the past few laps, the past 5.
Yeah, you can see there's that huge jump, but then the last lap they matched each other.
We'll come right back to that, but first let's take a look at what happened to Mark Dillon Jr.
Same turn. That is, in my opinion, that's the toughest turn on the track.
That one I don't really have a lot of problem with. It's,
Well, I usually go out wide. I hit the apex too early, and then I hit the wall.
It's the uphill left. It's the camber. At least in the LMP2 cars, it's the camber.
Oh, the LMP2, it's the worst.
And just the lack of vision, I guess. The nature of the corner, you can't see anything, so it's hard to judge where you are. And
the amount of time, the amount of times I heard that disheartening traction control kick on in that corner.
No. Yeah, that's I think, well, my Watkins Glen 6 hour did not even last until that corner. But if I hadn't plowed into the side of a car in that downhill left that we were just talking about, I probably would have spun at some point in that uphill left.
I actually had a perfect double stint for our Glen, but then something came up for Bryce, and he wasn't able to compete at all, so we were going to get disqualified at the end of the race anyway, so we just decided to pack it up.
Me and Keith, we just kind of, well, a few turns, and that was our day.
Yeah.
Rough weekend for me. My computer was having issues, and yeah. Anyways, we move on.
McCloy.
This is not the 6 hours of Glen. It's the 100 minutes of Watkins Glen with the E4A. So here we go. McCloy and Tyler headed up the hill. Take a look at the cockpit view.
Michael De La Salle and Steven Shepard both into the pits, by the way. Early, but I don't think that was unplanned.
I suppose we'll have to see how that plays out. Very interesting. That's not what I would have done.
I mean, it still should be in the window. It is interesting to go this early on that first stop, though.
Generally, you want to wait as long as you can. That way, if you do go early and you have some sort of damage, it doesn't cost you.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons you'd want to try to stretch it, unless they were directly behind drivers that they thought they could undercut. In that case, viable strategy for sure if you think you can run faster and clean here. But this one's not tough to follow on.
It definitely is not, as we'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people within a second of each other. Oh, wow. And that is Ryan Glover being almost sent to the shadow realm by Daniel Real. Who has Allison on his windshield phantom. I would be interested to hear the story behind that. But Daniel Real does get a lot of overspeed on Ryan Glover. I wonder if he just let him by, being traumatized by the little rear end bump there.
Hinckley's got a meatball, but his damage doesn't look that bad. It's not
bad news for
horrible.
Ford. This is Ryan Glover
through that part.
Gets on the curb and goes sliding out. Looks like he kept it out of the wall.
We'll never know.
There he is, not in the wall. So no real damage. Just maybe some broken egos.
Osborne hit a wall.
Osborne hit a wall, and we somehow missed it.
He just said it on the voice chat. Oh, he's just he spun right now, actually, too. Literally as I was speaking.
Oh, there it is.
So the exact same spot that we just saw McAllister, and then watch, we're gonna see.
That's McAllister into the wall, and now we can take a look at Marcus Osborne.
We're gonna see this very similar incident here.
Following his buddy.
The car just going.
Boom. So he goes around, just
looks
as
like a disaster to drive.
McAllister has. Atticus Middleton, who is moseying around in some sort of place, I believe 17th, going a little wide.
Another
Ooh,
spin.
Wow,
Another spin by Marcus Osborne. Same deal. That Ford. I'll be upfront, man. That Ford sucks. It's really bad.
If it tells you how outdated it is, that's the dashboard of the Ford. A couple lines with some maybe LED lights in the back, and
The Ferrari. Yeah.
this. Oh,
Oh, wow.
A front row view of McCloy hitting Brad McCombs there, as you can see in
Brad
the little
didn't
camera.
really communicate. He was slowing down to go to the pits there.
And this is what the newer GT3 cars look like. Lots of numbers.
I'm trying to figure out what I see, at least on mine, that Gareth McAllister is a black flag. I can't figure out what it's for.
Oh, listen to the roar of those cars. Wow. Gareth McAllister has a black flag?
Running on board there with Gareth. He's having to like manage like the gear shifts and stuff like mid-turn to just keep it from losing traction. Sounds like a real headache to drive.
Well, could it be incident points possibly?
It's only at 15.
Only at 15.
Which, I mean, you know, it's a lot early, but that's not enough to get the penalty, so I have no idea. Osborne has disconnected, so Osborne will live to, you know, Terry Calgary needed to beat him to force a rematch at Sebring, and it looks like that rematch will happen. It will come down to the last race for Pro on the bracket challenge.
And not to curse anybody, as we've done many times here on the broadcast, but as it stands now, we'll be seeing the bracket go to Sebring and GTD Am.
McAllister almost losing the lead. Scary. Yeah, the Nürnberger, of course, dropped off the standings there because he has gone for a pit stop, which some of the other drivers haven't.
So, as we talk about what could be wrapped up and what's to play for in the last two rounds still, we see that P8, 9, and 10, so that would be Ryan Glover, Michael De La Sala, and Richard Curry, all separated by 1 point. So all of them could end up switching places around by the end of Sebring. And it's not too far of a gap between Christopher Craig and Daniel Hingley, about 20 points, not even. Keith Roycroft and Jeff McDonald, 2 points. 16 points between Daniel Real and Dan Barnett. So lots and lots of shuffling up that can be happening here. And I'm sure it's pretty similar as we've seen Pro a few times tonight, these standings here. But there's a lot to play for, even with 2 rounds to go, down in the lower positions.
Yeah, especially with a couple guys missing. You know, Christopher Craig, for example, a driver who's not here, mentioned he was very close with Daniel Hingley. Obviously, Hingley's going to come out on top of that, even if he doesn't have a stellar race.
Yes, he will.
But look at that. Don McCloy right now is right on Paul Boyle. I mean, it goes to show that McCloy didn't qualify up in that position out of nowhere. I mean, that clearly showed that he had pace, and he still has the pace now. It's just that he's having to claw that all back from that early minor spin, which wouldn't have been so bad if there just weren't so many cars that got around. Looks like Paul's coming in the pits, maybe. Yeah, both of them.
McCloy's gonna follow. It seems early, but
Terry's in the pits, so if Terry's in the pits, it's not early.
all right. Just 26 minutes into this race. Usually it's 27 or 30. I guess a minute's not that big, but generally it's seems like a little bit more. That's Atticus Middleton, just a little bit too much. The Stevie Wonder driving school livery. Obviously, he learned from the best.
I was thinking that it would kind of stop spinning at a certain point, but it just continued and drove straight into the wall. So that's a lot of damage, unfortunately.
That's a lot of damage. Yeah, fun fact, or fun anecdote, whatever you want to call it. Zach Nürnberger and I won one of the Nürburgring Endurance Challenge races with a Stevie Wonder driving school Miata. And that's still one of my proudest moments because I had no practice.
Just to show the kind of insane pace that Terry has, especially even like early in the race, was just that he came in, he had a 49-second pit stop, you know, was stationary in the stop for 21 seconds, and he came out in 5th place overall. He came out actually in 4th place even in the GTD Pro standings, only Jeff McDonald named driver in front. So It's pretty. That's the kind of gap that he had already pulled less than half an hour into the race from the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad. Jeff McDonald yet to take his pit stop. He's gonna look to dive into the pits. No, yes.
Well, Kingsbury and Kelly also have not stopped, so it's all the way back to Newbie there. And McDonald had a large gap when Newbie pit for the first time. So we'll see where Jeff comes out after this, but certainly had a pretty healthy advantage after Real's spin early.
Indeed, he did. Now, we have...
Langenberg, the only driver staying out, looks like, I think.
Interesting.
He's able to make it go another lap. He's on lap 17, sorry, and every other driver's had to pit at 16.
So Jeff McDonald into the pits, James Kingsbury into the pits, John Kelly into the pits. So that'll effectively put Christopher Newby back into the lead here as he crosses by all of the drivers. And there he doesn't go. Jeff McDonald came out in front of him. Well, I guess they were like that before. I just have a very bad memory.
McDonald, he actually lost quite a lot of time. A little bit before that, he had like about a 7-second gap, so it's actually a good amount of time that he's now lost.
Well, hopefully he can gain that back. He had no time getting it to start with, so I'm assuming...
Spent a second longer in the pits as well.
Assuming he can kind of build up that lead once again. This is for position here. This is Keith Roycroft, Zach Nurnberger, and Daniel Real in that Porsche. Side by side. Not really, just the perspective.
Three drivers we all saw pit at very different times, and now this is where it's shaken out afterwards. So cool to see them on track so close, but it could be anyone's here.
All drivers as well. No, never mind. Daniel Real did not take a win this season. I was going to say all drivers with one win to their name, but Real has had 3 poles and has not won just yet. Winning from pole, apparently a very rare and hard achievement in the amateur category. Only been done once this season by Christopher Newby at Bathurst. Keith Roycroft with 4 poles has only won once and not off of pole. And Daniel Real with 3 poles has not won once at all.
Yeah, he's only got 1 podium, and that was from last race. Certainly, despite the mistake earlier, he certainly has a chance of doing it here. Nice move there by Keith Roycroft. Nurnberger having to defend for his life through those last 5 or 6 corners, but just couldn't keep it up.
He'll have the slipstream and try to work his way back into turn 1. Just doesn't have the speed, though. So, Paul Boyle and Don McCloy. Don McCloy doing a really great job of working his way back up the field, although I'm sure he'd rather be working his way up from where he started, not up back to where he started.
Yeah, he really got it switched on quick. When it came time to really have to make up a lot of spots, he turned it on. Look at that. We got both our leaders with the fastest laps. Very appropriate.
I feel like we see that quite a bit. Don McCloy, though, 143.4. He's the second fastest man on track. And Jeff McDonald, the only person in AM to dip down into that 43.9 territory.
Now seeing Terry start to pull away a little bit more from Langenberg after that pit cycle. A presumably healthy Terry now. Last week only won by only like 5 seconds, but he was sick.
And he was also almost in a hurricane, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Or that may have been the week prior. But yeah, stuff goes down in Florida.
Well, Florida man Terry made it work no matter what. And he's making it work tonight as well.
McCloy sending on the inside. Boyle's got to give him a little bit of room there. Gonna go side by side through the S's. Yeah, McCloy's going to take the spot there.
It's not the line you want to be on. As you can see, Paul Boyle's losing so much time as he lost all that momentum.
We're starting to see some drivers. And now that was only his second incident of the race, Paul Boyle. But I have seen a lot of drivers start to go out wide, especially in turn 1, of course, like you mentioned, a lot more strict than the previous build of this race. But we've also seen drivers go wide right here in this corner. And there's some drivers who have started to rack up the points. I mean, like 6 seems to be kind of the median for the field, 6 or 7. You stop getting those bonus points at 8.
Well, you certainly don't want 8 incidents, but if you do rack it up, you will lose all your bonus points, which are not dropped in the drop weeks, by the way. So you will keep those to edge out a single position if
Foreman
needed.
towing to the pits.
Yeah, I saw that, and I wasn't sure what happened to him.
It does not look good. There's some damage on the front or the back. Let's see what that was from.
Let's see. Tony Watson passed James Foreman for P23.
It was in the second to last corner. He had a similar wreck to what we saw from Atticus Middleton a few laps ago. Second to last corner in the heel and crashed into the wall on the left side.
No, that's not it. He's passing him in the pits. Let's see if I take a look and find what happened here, but Ryan Glover and Dave Ferrara are going to go at it while we watch that.
John Kelly not running real high currently, but that'll be good news for him because, again, like I said, him and Foreman are vying over that second place spot in the championship.
This isn't Foreman, but this is Sasha Kempter. In that left-hander I mentioned earlier, and just a little bit wide into the grass.
Yeah, interesting. You know, like you said, usually the mistake is made early in that corner with that camber. That one just taking it a little bit too wide, a little bit too much gas. Yeah, there's Foreman. That's the end of that incident there.
So he was blinked when it happened, and that's why I didn't get to see it. But coming into the final corner,
you can use your imagination.
Well, you can imagine what happened, and into the wall he went.
That's weird. I can see it on mine, so that's strange that it wasn't showing it for you. But
maybe
yeah,
I blinked.
Exactly how you would expect in that corner, unfortunately.
Not what you want to see, but it happens, and it did happen. So nothing you can do about it now. Just get to the pits, take one of your fast repairs. You get 2, and get back out there.
Langenberg maybe listening to me a little bit, taking it personally. It's actually closed the gap slightly over the last lap or two. Was 0.3 faster in the previous lap, although then they just crossed. The lap they just put in was, again, pretty much a match. So he's still in there. He's not letting it fall away too much.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see some sort of tire strategy last lap drama as Nick Paletti goes around the outside of Paul Boyle, but Paul Boyle is going to the pits, so it's not as impressive. Anyways,
wasn't Paul just in the pits?
He was, so I'm not sure what he's
only
doing.
had a 5-lap stint, and he's back in the pits.
Interesting. We'll have to follow that. But Terry Kiger Jr. maintained about a 3-second lead last race until tire strategy almost caught up with him. So we'll have to see if Tyler Langenberg can try something like that to edge it out over Terry Kiger Jr. By the end of this race. We got about an hour and 10 minutes still, so lots of time.
Yeah, looking at the times for the stops, it looks like I think that Keith Roycroft took tires. It looks like possibly 2. He may have taken both left, both fronts, something like that. But I don't think any other driver has made that strategy call. At least ones who are up there in the battling position. So that's why we see Keith down there in 6th now, where he was fighting for that 4th place spot. But he decided to take some tires, I guess, and try to play that out.
And this is what it looks like down the field as we go further.
Track's even hotter now. Again, in practice it was 28 Celsius, now it's 35. Let me use my calculator here. It's 95 degrees on Fahrenheit on track right now.
All right, we can take a look here. 96 degrees, says iRacing. It's now 1 o'clock, 1:45 in sim, and the air temp is 77 degrees.
Yeah, It's Fahil and Tyler right behind Paletti there. I've been close for the last couple laps.
They sure are. Christopher Newby.
Tyler, yeah, Newby there as well. Tyler's made up some spots from where he started the Fahil as well, but their lap times are all very similar. They're around the mid 45s right now.
Definitely a race to be won here, as Adrian Garcia just slightly catching up, I think. Paul Boyle out of the pits, done his lap. He lost about 15 seconds on that occasion. Maybe, was it a drive-through?
Let me see. I don't think any driver has received the drive-through. Most incidents currently is 17, so no driver with the drive-through yet.
Huh. Don McCloy, we didn't catch this. Don McCloy, who was on a charge, coming through the bus stop. Ooh.
Must have got the grass a little bit.
Ooh.
Oh, that is lucky to not have a bigger crash than that.
Ryan Tyler just straight into him. He's missing a hood now. I'm sure he may have a little trouble, although he could have a little bit more. I'm sure Ryan Tyler's not super happy with his lack of places to go there, but it'll be all right. Ryan
Here
Glover.
and see if McCloy decides to pit or not.
Has he gone?
Oh, he is not. He's staying out.
Interesting. In the pits currently is Atticus Middleton. He is just on a regular stop. He's done.
Well, McCloy losing it in turn 1. Probably should have pit. That damage looked to have impaired his ability to take that turn because it just snapped on him trying to turn right. Look at that. It's already gone. You can already tell.
What started so strong for him is gone poorly. Now Paul Boyle has towed after this incident right here. Let's take a look. Seems reminiscent of somebody else.
We saw Atticus do that. We imagined Glover, doing that.
So if you're wondering what happened to Glover, that's what happened to Glover. If you couldn't imagine it already.
Okay, replay of a pass. I was waiting for an incident here.
Look at Ryan Glover getting racy with Dave Ferrara. They make contact. Uphill to go.
That's good battling there.
Nice side-by-side action.
They may have given him like a 4x for that or something silly, but that was really good racing.
Yeah, nice little tap. Dave Ferrara, can he make it on the way back? He's pulling out already. I think that might have been too early, and he's going to back out.
It's your longest replay ever.
That was a replay. All right. Wow. Didn't know.
Yeah, really good racing. Fun to see. We do have Don McCloy, who has disconnected, as well as James Foreman. So both those drivers out, as well as Daniel Hingley, Marcus Osborne, and Daniel Barnett so far.
All right. So we've lost one, well, technically two that never took the start, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 cars here tonight. Mark Dillon Jr. still running. He is in dead last, down in 14th, 28th overall.
Yeah, he's 4 laps down.
But still kicking nonetheless. We're about 40.
He's making up some spots, like not Don McCloy, but James Foreman there, obviously behind him because he already left.
Yeah, making up spots. No matter how far back you are, spots are spots. And that's Richard Curry killing Michael De La Sala. Daniel Royale's going to have to go around. Richard Curry makes it off nice, but Michael De La Sala not quite as lucky.
How in the world does he save that? And then, man, how unlucky to be Michael in that situation.
Oh, wow.
honestly, Michael's car is what kept Richard's car going straight.
That was violent.
Yeah, that's a shame to see. Certainly not Curry's fault for just making a mistake there, and Michael just in the wrong place. Nothing, and also not a bad spot for him to be in. You know, how would he know?
Yeah, so
De La Sala quitting out of the session now as well.
De La Sala being P9 in the overall standings, and Richard Curry being P10 in the overall standings.
Wow,
that's not going to be great for their battle there, because they're separated by only 1 point.
Wow, look at that. Daniel Real up to third already. Certainly benefited from the misfortune of some others, but good recovery so far for sure after an early mistake that we saw.
Yeah, Daniel Real was first. Now he's third. But he was also down in, seventh at one point?
They've been more than that. He was sitting still for quite a long time. That's where Mark Dillon Jr. Crashed when he came upon him down that turn into the boot there.
Yeah, so really good from Daniel Real currently.
I see Don McCloy comment there about his headset dying.
No, that would not be good. Is that the reason that we lost him tonight?
See, I can't read the first line under the graphics there.
Trying to drive
after, oh yeah.
After your headset dies, it is not recommended. No, it is not.
Believe it or not, I've actually done that here at Watkins Glen, the N4A, the NASCAR for Amsher's race that we did here, the road circuit. My sound cut out on my headphones halfway through quals. I think I didn't have time, so I had to mid race try to turn it on my monitor sound. It was horrible. I couldn't talk to anybody. Paul Boyle disconnected now. Man, we're having a rash of DNFs here.
Yeah, it's a tricky track when you really get down to it to be fast and stay out of trouble, but I'd expect maybe a few less.
Yeah, like you said, to be fast, that's where it comes from. Is it's a simple enough track that you start to respect it less when you're trying to push, rather than being a little a little bit of a healthy fear. It just seems so simple. Like, oh, I can just send it, and if you just send it a little bit too much, you're gonna be out of the race.
It's kind of like the difference of driving a real car and driving an iRacing car. One, if you crash, well, it's all right. The other, if you crash, well, yeah, not gonna be your day. So you gotta know when to push and when to not push.
Taking a look to see if that tire strategy's paid off for Keith yet. His last lap, he put in a 1:45.2. Curry in front, he just put in 1:44.7. Curry in front, 44.8. Daniel Real, 43.9. So it looks like that hasn't come into play yet. Of course, very early, but the new tires hasn't helped him yet.
Yeah, I hate sound problems. I remember I would have a small clicking in my headset. Just, I don't know why, I would just go and that just really annoyed me for no reason. It was barely audible, but awful just the same.
Yeah, sounds terrible.
Oh my, listen to the sound of those cars. I love that.
Yeah, it's a cool camera to have for it. Still looking at the Terry and Tyler as 1 and 2. Paul Skip running there in 4th, and Aaron Claybaugh, third. Aaron Claybaugh 4th, Brad McCombs 5th. That's a lot of spots gained by Brad McCombs there for sure.
That's newbie on Tyler. Brad McCombs doing really, really well. Let's see if I can see his overall gain tonight. Newbie ahead of Tyler still.
3 or 4, I think.
He's gained 3 spots in his class, and I'm pretty sure that'd make it 4 overall due to the AM drivers that probably qualified ahead of him.
He's gained 6 overall, actually.
Oh, so 6 overall. So he was
we
right
had some
behind.
impressive AM showing in quals.
Right behind the AM drivers in qualifying. Jeff McDonald still up there. After qualifying 2nd, Christopher Newby after qualifying fourth, or no, third, is now in second.
Yeah, same top three for qualifying, just the order swapped a little bit, so
Daniel
none of them
Real
making
dropped one.
race-ending mistakes. That gap at the front with Calgary and Langenberg still mid 3 seconds. It's totally stagnated. I wonder if that's. I mean, you can see there on that track map there, both coming up to the bus stop. Certainly, Terry would be able to see Tyler back there. I have to wonder if that's in his mind at all.
With an experienced driver like Terry, I think he's learned to kind of put all the distractions to the side. He's not the kind of guy to get distracted by just somebody 3 seconds back. Oh, now it's 2.3 seconds though. Hold on.
He's behind some traffic. He's behind Nick Paletti, Dave Ferrara, and it's giving him a little bit of a headache here.
Interesting, and Paletti and Ferrara are also duking it out on track. So that'll be interesting.
Brad McCombs going into the pits now after a 14-lap stint. He pit earlier than we saw most of the other drivers.
Paletti going straight on.
Paletti leaving. It's one way to get out of the way.
Yeah. Did Paletti already pit? Because he's way back.
Yeah, Paletti he pit just like 2 laps ago, but he's also, he had that, I'm forgetting now. He had an incident, but, which he was involved in something. I can't remember. There's been too much stuff that's happened, but yes, he pit just 3 laps ago.
It's a very action-filled race. Oh, I love that angle. That's my favorite. It's just the sound, the roar of those cars is awesome. Just puts a smile on my face. Now, Tyler Langenberg.
Oh, it's just about a second now at the front. They got a gap. They got a car between
It's
them.
under a
Man,
second now.
2
Oh,
cars.
boy. Tyler Langenberg in his unusually yellow Porsche. He's usually a blue BMW guy. Now 6/10 behind Terry Calgary Jr. What's happening? It's all falling
They're
apart.
just being
for
a
Terry.
little hesitant with lapped traffic. Langenberg taking advantage of that currently.
It looks like Langenberg's got a slight
He's now through.
bumper damage note. We'll come right back to that, but Daniel Real, who was in third, now all the way down in
Ooh, that was weird.
fourth. There's a dry spin in the final corner. Anyways, back to the hunt. Langenberg dropped 0.3, but he's ahead of Ferrara after that pass he made going down the hill.
Yeah, Terry's last lap was a 1:47 flat. That's how much the traffic slowed him down by 3 or 4 seconds. And it hardly slowed down Langenberg at all.
Those are the last lap times. Langenberg almost 2 seconds faster that last lap there. So not really what you want to see if you're Terry Calgary Jr. This being Steven Shepard in the Lamborghini. We don't see that very often. Similar to Mark Dillon Jr., Daniel Real, but
So early. In the
far,
corner.
yeah, far earlier in the corner.
Right now, looking at the overall standings, we got AM drivers in 4th, 5th, and 6th. I mean, look at that. Look, I don't know where the top 3 for pro have been very they've completely separated themselves. I know we haven't really mentioned Paul Skip a lot because he's a little bit further back from Langenberg, of course, than Langenberg is from Calgary. But Skip's got like a minute on Neri behind him.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good, I'd say.
I don't know where that came from. It's not even been an hour. And he's got a minute gap on 4th place. I said these guys were going to be close. They're not close.
I think we are really separating who's got the fast times here now. Obviously.
Hard to guys up there. Keith Roycroft now into the pits now after a 15-lap stint, though. So let's shake it up a little bit. I do wonder if we have a couple of those pro drivers like Claybaugh and Tyler who have already pit. If maybe they would be up there in that 1 minute gap. I would hope so. We're in that second pit round.
We've seen at many earlier races this season, the top 10 all red in pros. But now,
Yeah, this is
5 of those top 10 are green. They're AM drivers.
I mean, yeah. What if you tell there in the top 8? There's an equal amount of pros and AMs. We still got some pit strategy to shake out here, but that's kind of wild to see.
Very wild. You can take a look at the track map as well. P1, P2, P3, all in that first sector, and P4 just headed into the boot now. So they are not separated by much. A lap around here is about a minute and 42 seconds, 45 now with these temps, and they're just about a minute. So another, I'd say by the end of the race, it could probably start lapping.
I will say, I just wanted to bring attention to it real quick. After that dramatic coming together of P1 and P2, Terry and Langenberg getting close, they both reacted, and their last laps were sub 44. You can see there, fastest lap 43s. We've been mostly seeing them putting in 44s and 45s, so they both turned it on when they saw that opportunity.
Yeah, they are getting back down there. So they do not want to have to race each other, that's for sure.
And Kelly has to pit again, like a couple of other drivers around him, but another race where, I mean, he willingly went into the pits and has made up a lot of spots. And one who, like I said, is vying for that number 2 overall in the championship with James Foreman. And there's Terry to the pits.
In he goes. Aaron Claybaugh right on the back of Sasha Kempter there, though. Really, really tight. Going to the bus stop. Yeah. Now, almost side by side, but Kempter slightly behind going in. And they're going to keep it clean and live another day.
Langenberg dealing with traffic now. He's having to deal with or experience what Terry had to deal with. Making his way through, luckily, though.
Easily done.
Newbie into the pits.
It's so weird seeing Langenberg in a yellow Porsche.
Yeah, I likely used it last week, so it's not too much of a shock, but gotta get used to it.
Porsche is the name of the game. Although the BMW, at least Suzuka, just really fired up. It was just sticking to the ground. It was awesome.
Very curious to see if the next build, next update, there's anything changed to the balance of performance, because I think a lot of iRacing members are getting a little bit of a feeling that the Porsche's overpowered. We're seeing the drivers really flock to it here in this series, despite the fact that it is kind of tough to drive.
Well, you just kind of got to make it work. The safest setups are usually the slowest, but the scarier ones are usually the fastest. So it's just about, if you can handle the car, you can extract that pace.
In real life, the fastest car here, the track record, is the Bentley GT3, actually. Cross my fingers that we'll ever get that someday. Probably won't. Paul's skipping the pits.
I know me and a few of the guys are waiting for the Lexus GT3. Oh my god, I love that camera angle. But the Lexus GT3 is on my list. Mainly just so I can run the Vassar Sullivan livery. And,
still got the
irritate
the
Tyler
Lexus.
Watts.
Lexus, the Bentley, the Acura / Honda.
The
Some of the
NSX.
other main ones that we don't have yet, but not all the way there.
How about the Mustang?
Yeah. Does Toyota have one? I don't remember if Toyota has a GT3. Slipping my mind. Jeff McDonald.
I don't think they're
has-
in official homologated GT3. I know they have similar GT type 86s. Anyways,
So now we're seeing with these pits, we only have a couple people who have yet to pit. Kelly into the pits. Tyler Langenberg again stretching it out longer because he took it longer than anyone else on that first stop. And Kingsbury in the pits as well. So yeah, Langenberg's the last guy. I guess also Glover has not.
Huh.
Oh, Glover. Sorry, Glover's already had a second pit, so he's coming in though.
So a third pit.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what happened to him earlier in the race, but he's on the exact same pit schedule as everybody else. So
Interesting. This is Keith Roycroft now up into third place.
it looks like Aaron Claybaugh took, I think maybe all 4 tires, at least maybe 3, and it looks like Ryan Tyler took 2 tires. Paletti was sitting still in the stop for a really long time as well. I think McCombs may have even had
McCombs definitely.
a penalty. McCombs was so long, he was sitting still for a minute. 59.7 seconds.
Yeah. Paletti 42.8. The
Almost 20-ish.
faster drivers 20.6 seconds for Cowger, 22.5 for Newbie, and then 37, 31, 30, no, 35, 37.5, 31.7, 42.8, and 59.6 are the ones that stand out.
Yeah, the Tyler and Claybaugh definitely took, and I think Claybaugh may have taken a full set, and Tyler maybe just 2, like Roycroft did earlier.
So Claybaugh, our previous winner here at Watkins Glen in E4A. Obviously, he knows one way to make it work around here, but I don't think he has an answer to the guys up front tonight.
His last lap was a 1:44.6, but yeah, I mean Tyler's last lap was a 1:43.7. He's coming into the pits now, trying to put in a hot lap before coming in, trying to make that gap with Terry as small as possible. Interested to see what that looks like when he comes out here.
Suppose we'll find out in a shorter period of time.
Tony Watson's there, 9th place, right behind Andrew Neri for 8th in GTD Pro. Very close. And as you see there, James Kingsbury giving Zach Nurnberger some fight.
Fighting all over the field. Most of the field.
All right, as you would expect, no tires for Langenberg. But there's Terry going through now. Oh, what's going on there?
That is a slow Atticus Middleton, possibly causing problems for Langenberg
Yeah, he
in the
kind of
pits.
slowed down almost to like let him by, but you can't do that on the pit exit. Now that's rough. Tyler probably lost 3 seconds plus right there doing that.
This is what happened here.
I think Atticus is just trying not to get in the way of anyone on the track, and I don't think he realized that Tyler was there trying to come out of the pits.
That seems like a likely explanation. And as soon as he saw him, he sped up and tried to get out of the way.
Yeah, the last thing Tyler needed was extra difficulty in trying to beat Terry for this race.
And there's Atticus going on a little adventure.
Yeah, he was getting out of the way of Tyler there, although also stopping for some reason.
Back to the pits he goes. He had passed Marcus Osborne for P31 as he left the pits, and as he towed Marcus Osborne, the person not connected to this race, passed him back. So that's interesting.
We do have Vahil out of the race now. Looking at our overall standings, we're looking at Terry Cowger Jr. in first for GTD Pro, followed by Tyler Langenberg 4 seconds back, and Paul Skips 6 seconds back from that for third. And GTM, we have Jeff McDonald leading with a 3-second gap back to Chris Newby and 23 seconds back to Keith Roycroft.
So not too bad. Decent showing from many people here tonight. Zach Nurnberger's up 6 spots. Ryan Tyler's up 4. Dave Ferrara's up 7. We haven't seen many higher finishes from Dave, but he's getting up there with a top 10 tonight.
Yeah, those top 3 in each are certainly not surprising names to see. And I mean, Cowger and Langenberg have been class of the field throughout the entire season. Paul Skip seems to be on really strong form over the last few races, especially. Certainly was an expert in the GTEs. Again, was the final champion of the GTEs for E4A, and then in GTDM, you see newbie competitive in every single race. And McDonald and Roycraft have been on the pace every single race this season as well. Just both of them have occasionally had some incidents in their night, unfortunately, but both running well today in the podium positions.
Could never string it together, but Keith Roycroft made it work one day, and I think Jeff McDonald's making it work tonight, so he can finally take his win for the season.
Yeah, we still got 35 plus minutes to go.
So don't want to curse anybody.
Yeah, a lot to play for still. Again, McDonald and Roycroft, as I mentioned, ones who have always been on the pace. They both have some pretty decent race results. They both have multiple pole positions, but in the overall standings right now, McDonald is 12th and Roycroft is 11th. So they're only 2 points apart right there. Not going to be separated by much for this race, but should make a pretty big jump over some drivers in front of them, who some of them, like Christopher Craig, actually aren't even here at this race, and others like Daniel Hingley and Michael De La Sala have already DNF'd, unfortunately.
Yeah, 8th to 12th in GTDM is separated by about 8 points. So lots to play there. 7th to 12th by 9 points. Really, really tight. So Alex Penn says, Gareth McAllister. I just want to give us a view of Gareth's car currently.
He's still going to win this race.
Is still going to win this race, and now that is what we call
optimism.
Optimism. You could call it. You can call it whatever you want. Gareth, I don't think you're going to win this race, buddy. Unfortunately. Dave Ferrara.
He's been in this spot for 9.5 minutes, so.
Who I said was looking good.
You cursed him.
it spun around.
Okay.
But
no collision.
He kept it out of the wall, so it's not the worst thing. Back to Gareth McAllister. Oh boy, that's a one-mangled car there. John Kelly's up 5 spots in the P4 tonight. Look at the way that car bounces.
Yeah, it was no surprise there. I mean, we knew that he was going to make up spots, considering that well, I guess, yeah, I mean, up from his qualifying position, certainly up from where he was at the start of lap 1, because he purposely went into the pits to, maybe just avoid some. I think last week he had said that he did that to just avoid any craziness, but he has really good race pace. I mean, imagine where he'd be if he hadn't done that. He would have lost quite a lot of time doing that. Would at least be up in third, probably, or at least fighting for third with Keith.
Yeah, I mean, he could still get up there by the end of this race. Still 40 minutes to go.
Let's see, taking a look again, trying to see if those tires coming into play yet for Keith. Keith's last lap was 144.7. Newbie in front 145.7. McDonald 145 flat. Maybe it's just that lap, but he obviously has a tire advantage, and it might be starting to play out for him. John Kelly at 145.0. So Roycroft putting in some of the faster. Well, last lap was 145.4, but still seems to be one of the faster ones in the field currently for GTDM.
So maybe that tire strategy is working out. Only one way to tell, though, and that's to see where they finish. Daniel Real with a late lunge on Andrew Neri, but gets it done like
a little wide there,
with
but,
a lot of time to spare there. Nice move, I guess. Minus the going wide, like Ryan Glover does as well, as he's trying to chase down James Kingsbury. Who is that blue car behind him?
Joel Lee, I think. I believe.
That would be him. So, despite... Where is he? Despite only being 4 spots down, Jolie is also a lap down behind Ryan Glover.
You know, just watching the drivers go through that bus stop, I think it needs to be stated for sure. That is a very tough turn. It seems like you would be able to pick it up pretty quickly, or maybe if you just watched a video on the racing. It's super hard. It took me, at least for me personally, it took me forever to get that, and I'm still slower than some other people. I don't know why, but it's just a non-standard kind of, like, there's no faster chicane than this bus stop, and you just clobber the curves and just try to maximize your exit, because then you have to be fast in the exit too going through this corner. So it's very tough, especially when you're first learning the track, and it can be, you know, a little bit scary every time you come through.
It's personally my favorite corner at the track for sure, and one of my favorite on the service. It's just so flowy. It's really satisfying to hit through the LMP2. It just glides over it, and the way the car just you know when you see a race car and it kind of, I don't know, it leans into the turn, the suspension, you can see it happening. I think it looks awesome that way.
It definitely reminds me of the bus stop in Daytona, but just like amped up to another level. It's not much of a braking zone. You would think like, oh, it's a chicane. It's like, the only reason that you can even really fight other drivers through it is just because there's so much time to have the draft into that corner.
Yeah, it's the Watkins Glen bravery corner when it comes to passing people through there, that's for sure. I've seen many of IMSA races that ended on lap 1 because people decide, oh, I can take this. And then they they couldn't.
Eric Kiger Jr. and Joel Lee actually got very close to crashing in the chicane. I think they even actually touched. Probably a little bit of a 0x collision there, but that was almost disaster there for Terry's race. Just a little bit of a, I don't think Joel saw him on the side.
Very possible, but Terry has built that lead back up to 4.3 seconds.
Well, that's what it's been since Tyler unfortunately got kind of hampered on the pit exit.
Yeah, it was down to 0.6 at one point, but Terry Kiger Jr. doing a good job to build it back up as best he can.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been the same since Tyler came out of the pits. Tyler lost about 3-4 seconds in that, and then they've been putting in almost identical laps. Previous lap, Langenberg was faster by 0.02. They're definitely competing with each other, but it's just not much of a seesaw. It's just staying the same.
It's I see. Not gonna do anything about it though. That made no
Kingsbury
sense.
all over Nürnberger there. Kingsbury's last lap 145 flat versus Nürnberger's 145.9.
That's decent.
And Nürnberger took tires as well. His last stop was 43 seconds, so he must have taken a full set.
Dave Ferrara had issues and entered the pit lane. So
Played by entering for his final pits, by the way.
That could mean a bad thing. We saw the same incident earlier, although he's fine.
Looks identical.
Yeah, very, very close to what happened last time.
Yeah, I'm not seeing Dave in the pits, so I don't know if that was just a glitch on your SDK there. But Paletti now coming in the pits also. Paletti, one who pit earlier than most of the drivers that we saw. But all these drivers now coming in just for their final scheduled one.
Says Dave Ferrara entered the pits. Dave Ferrara left the pits 0.000 seconds long. So, some sort of glitch.
A lot of drivers out of the race. Currently, only, well, I think really only like 23, I think, are in the race right now. We had 35, I think, registered, so it's been a lot of attrition.
Mark Dillon Jr., the last running car in this race, and 23rd overall. And
he keeps making up spots.
We had 35 cars that started. 35 cars registered this race, and he's 23rd, and he's in last. So, 12 people retired tonight, and I'm sure we may see one more at least.
Yeah, so after Claybaugh's final pit comes out in 7th, less than a second behind Neri. He's just going to try to make a move on that.
Let's see if he can catch up there and get it done. This will be for P6 overall. Well, not overall, but in class. Andrew Neri up 6 positions here tonight. John Kelly up 5. Ryan Tyler up 5. Zach Nuremberg up 6. Ryan Glover up 5. Sasha Kempter up 5. Dave Ferrara up 7. Steven Shepard up 4. Joel Lee up 4. It's a gain race, but I guess there's also a lot of people that have lost in those that have retired. Don McCloy down 10. Paul Boyle down 7. James Foreman down 9. So that's where a lot of those positions are coming from.
Yeah, we're looking at the field. Again, we just saw Terry lap Nuremberger there, so the count of drivers lapped is increasing. It looks like Aaron Claybaugh is the last driver on the lead lap, so that's only the top 11 on the lead lap.
Yeah, Calgary's fast, that's for sure.
Zach Nuremberger there trying to do a little bit of bump drafting going down the back straight. Nearly took Terry out there.
That sounds like a Zach Nuremberger thing. No hate to him, just he likes to have a little fun. And
Terry on the radio went, whoa, 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 whoa.
He likes to make it a little spicy, spice things up. Typical Zach fashion. You're a Zach.
Yeah, I am.
Differentiated only by the last name here, Zach Purcell, Zach Nuremberg. We call you ZP.
Glover, Kingsbury. Nope, can't do it there.
He's looking to get up there though. Glover on
yeah,
Kingsbury.
no, I'm used to my life. There's too many Zachs in my age, so I'm used to it.
Well, we'll stick to ZP. It's got a nice ring to it. Rolls off the tongue.
And we're only got 24 minutes to go, and still this battle for 6th, 7th. Oh, all right. Nuremberger into the pits. We'll see what happens when these guys take their pits as well. But on track, these guys are next to each other. That's still for sure.
He's just messing with you. He knows we're talking about him.
Well, yeah, I'm certainly, he's probably happy to be out of that and not be. I know he's, like I said, he's a driver who likes to be behind more than in front. So to just not have to worry about that, get in the pits, see what happens after the strategy. Because he only had, actually, never mind. I think that he had actually started his pits earlier in the race because that was 16 laps. That was probably as far as he could take the stint.
Probably. Let's take one more look at Gareth McAllister.
He's got 15 laps to make up on Terry, so
he's got an easy chance. That car has not been fixed at all in his time in the pits. Are they not working on it?
21 minutes now.
Have they not? Have the mechanics not? Oh.
Hey. It is. It does look better than it was. It really does. Because in the front left, there wasn't even any coverage at all. The wheels just exposed.
He just went and made himself a coffee and probably watched his favorite show and then came back.
If he drives 3 laps, he actually will. He will pass Adrian Garcia Vigil, who was 12 laps down. So he does have one position on the line.
Oh, I just think it's funny that we were spectating him.
Yeah, no.
Oh boy. Well, he's back in this race, Alex. Don't go anywhere. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So with just over 20 minutes remaining, Gareth McAllister's back on track. Ryan Glover's trying to get past James Kingsbury, and there he goes, side by side into turn 1. Kingsbury blinking.
Can't see him.
Glover is ahead.
Good pass.
Nicely done. Kingsbury going to see if he has anything to throw back at him down the straight, but it's a hard one to get if you're not right on the bumper.
Yeah, it's not looking like he's got enough charge here. Speaking of, by the way, that gap with Calgary and Langberg has dropped. It's down to just about 3 seconds. Actually, at the line was sub 3 seconds. It was at 2.989.
There's Calgary, and there's Langenberg. Not too far off of each other. If we look at Terry, we could see Tyler in the background. So it's coming down. Did Tyler have any interesting tire strategy to note? I don't think so.
No, they both have no tires taken. Their stops were literally identical to the 10th of a second.
So this is what their time delta looks like. Gap definitely has come down in the past 5 laps, but not as much as I'm sure Langenberg would like, but it is starting to come down.
Yeah, Skip falling a little bit back from Langenberg, but still right before Ryan Tyler pit had about a 40-second gap. So, I mean, Paul's been running a pretty boring race. He hasn't been around many other cars. I don't even think we've seen him in the background of other crashes. So this would be a good third-place finish, but not the most enthralling race probably from his cockpit.
He's really just playing Hot Lap Simulator. Just kind of driving around and getting it done, but I don't think he's seen another car on track, really.
No, yeah, it's been just enough out of Langenberg's been just enough ahead that probably he's not really seeing him. And then the behind, I mean, there's just no one even close behind. After Tyler's pit, now Clay Bob, minute and a half behind him.
So we could take a look at the mini-map. Let's see if we can find where Terry is. Terry is
They're coming down
just going through the carousel right now. And 4th place is just ahead of him.
Yeah.
I'm sure if we take a look here at Ryan Tyler.
Now, to be fair, Tyler has pit and Terry has not yet.
We should probably be able to see Terry in the background. Maybe just a little bit too far.
Camera's not helping us.
No, maybe if
there's
we
a little bit of a hump, to that straight. So yeah, you wouldn't be able to see him all the way down there.
There's Claybot in the bottom, and Calgary Jr. going through that left-hander, or I guess it's right-hander, just as well. So not too far off at all. Is Claybot going to go into the pits? No, he's not.
No, Claybot's already pit. He's already done his. He's only on lap 5 of his stint, so he's good till the end, as is Ryan Tyler. All the guys ahead have not pit yet, and so the drivers at the front of like the standings that we're looking that way that haven't done yet are Kingsbury, Glover, Kelly, Newby, McDonald, Skip, Langenberg, and Calgary. Those drivers all still have one more to go.
Indeed they do. Gareth McAllister has made up that place. He is now in, drumroll please, 11th, as opposed to P12. So Gareth McAllister is pretty much in first if you just round up to first. Just hide the 1.
The second digit off.
Yeah. So obviously he's gonna win. Thank you for the encouragement, Alex, because I think solely through your encouragement is what gave him the power to win this.
Curry's on the back of Nürnberger right now. Both drivers already made their pit, so this is for position for the race. They're in 8th.
8th place. All right.
As it stands, looks like Nürnberger will lose to McDonald in the bracket challenge, and that will continue to Sebring next week, just like the pro competition between Osborne and Cowger.
Yes, sir. 18 minutes left, and Jeff McDonald is out in front.
Nice to be on the inside there, as long as you feel confident that you can take that second apex of that corner. But good defense there. He's gonna have to defend some more in these last 17 minutes.
I think he's doing all right to start at
Carry
least.
the pits after his 16 laps now.
There he goes. Tyler Langenberg takes the lead for the time being.
Yeah, the gap was only 2.5 seconds last time they crossed the line. It's been going down for sure, so very interested to see what happens. We've seen Langenberg take it longer than the others. He probably doesn't have to pit for 3 more laps, so he has a lot of time to put in some clean, lonely laps, and very interested to see where that puts us after this pit stop.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping maybe for once we can see Terry have some sort of on-track competition. Not just in theory, but actual practice, side-by-side racing to really show what he can do.
We haven't seen it since, like, Bathurst, I feel like.
Yeah, when he and Marcus Osborne went side-by-side.
Maybe Monza?
Yeah, where he didn't absolutely dominate the race.
Well, he was doing well. I think maybe he was even in lead, but then the hurricane cut his internet out.
Yeah. Well, I suppose
Maybe into the pits.
It's very possible that we could see that. So I'm hoping.
Skip's probably going to pit at the end of this lap here. This will be 16 laps. We've generally been seeing 16. However, somehow Tyler was able to do 17 on his first stint. So Tyler Langenberg, sorry. So don't know how he did that, but keep an eye on Paul Skip here, because this will be the last opportunity to make a really big mistake, is like speed in the pits or something, just with how tame of a race he's honestly had. Kelly going in the pits for his last time now.
Alex Penn
going to the pits.
Says that Gareth McAllister will win the race, whether you have to round it up or not. So, you know, you have my full support, Gareth. Go on and give it your all and just win. Just do it.
Let's see. Taking a look at these incident points. I haven't really touched on it. No one was 0. We do have John Kelly and Tony Watson at 1. Paul Skip, Jeff McDonald at 3. Langenberg, Shepard, Roycroft, Cowger, Ferrara, Paletti, Newby, Claybaugh, and Joel Lee are the only drivers that will be receiving points. So, again, a lot of drivers that we typically see, a lot of the drivers that are there up in the top spots. So, no surprise there. Although I guess Ryan Glover running in 3rd, he does not. He will not be getting the bonus points.
Interesting. Of course, Paletti's getting it, though. Still, our safest driver. Again, only missed points 1 time at Spa. The rest
close. He's got 7 incidents. He's not too far off.
I think he'll still be in the running for safest driver, though. Only once, and I guess possibly tonight, has he missed the safety points. So not too bad from him. I think we've touched on this many times this season, but he was the safest driver award winner last season, and doing well this season.
I think Brad McCombs just said his tire blew out again.
Oh boy!
He had this happen last week. Yeah, sure enough, he's got a meatball. He has a blown tire.
This is Alex Penn's man, our race winner for tonight. Unfortunately,
that was close.
Not exactly what you want to see if you're rooting for Garrett. But
Glover and Kingsbury into the pits now.
Tyler and Claybaugh are going at it now for P4. Just 13 minutes to go.
Yeah, again, both those guys already stopped, so that's this is it for them on track.
This battle will go to the end.
Where did the GTD track, the lap record was just improved there? Who was that by? it was a 1:43.9 for most of this race.
Let us take a look. Best time.
It was Mark Dillon Jr. 1:43.745. 5 laps down, but putting in heater laps.
That sounds like Mark. Just in the middle of nowhere, setting fastest laps.
So Langenberg has been slightly faster on his in laps here than Terry's out laps. May come into pit this lap, or it might be the next one, but I don't think it's been enough to catch up. It's been enough to close the gap a little bit, but keep a very close eye on this. And he's not okay. He's gonna go for 17 laps on this stint.
That's could that hurt him?
I mean, he'd only be going. He'd only be going if he thought that he could do it comfortably. He did it for his first stint and was still very fast. So, I think that he's just an expert at the fuel saving here while still keeping things quick.
Well, I guess that only stands to gain for Tyler Langenberg. Maybe claw that gap down to sub-second once more. And work
Not
his
currently
magic.
shaping up that way, but
well, speaking of shaping, Steven Shepard's car might end up a little misshapen following this accident. Ouch.
ooh,
Doesn't look very misshapen though.
yeah, that survived. That looks fine.
It looks
doesn't even
brand
look
new. Brand new car for Steven Shepard. Had a dent before he hit the wall, but he came out and it was replaced.
fixed.
Oh boy.
Okay, yeah. Now Terry's latest lap, another steamer in there, 43.8. So, yeah, Tyler has been fast in these in laps, but he needed to be, he needed to be like multiple tenths a second faster each lap. But he'll be coming in at the end of here, and then we'll really see what kind of gap we're looking at for the last 10 minutes of this race. Lapped cars all over the place, though, and that we've already seen it throw a wrench into the works before.
Yeah, you can take a look at that track map over there. You'll see it goes 9, 9, 1, 12, 2, 4, 3, or 5, I mean. So it's not exactly linear when it comes to the cars and their place on track. We saw it, lap traffic causing problems for Terry Kegger Jr. earlier, and I think he's currently coming up to the back of a lapped car again. Oh no, they're going into the pits. He's gonna be safe, but it could cause problems again.
Much shorter. It was actually 5 seconds shorter of a stop for Langenberg. Is he going to come out ahead?
He's ahead.
He is ahead.
How
did he do
fuel
saving
that?
has saved him 5 seconds of race time.
That's masterclass.
Unless he's underfueled, this is huge for him.
Surely that can't be completely correct.
He's done better on the fuel than no one else in the entire field. I think he even put in a single 17-lap stint, and he's done it twice. And if you burn less fuel, you use less fuel. Ugh. I've seen Ferraris do that a few times already there.
Why are the cars brand new when they come out?
Yeah, that is a forgiving wall.
Oh
wow.
boy.
Just over a 2-second gap that Langberg's got on Terry behind. Terry's last lap very quick.
Absolutely swapped it on him.
Wow, that's a masterclass of strategy for sure. If he can stick it out for these last 9 minutes, that'd be a really impressive win.
Langenberg now converting his 52 laps led to 53 and then 54 and maybe 55, 56 even, 57. We'll find out. 57.
Well, yeah, my thing is estimating 6 laps to go.
So 58.
By the way, if you're wondering where Ryan Tyler disappeared to, you can see him down there in the pits in 10th. His real life brakes failed.
Oh.
His brake pedals broke, and he is unfortunately going to be out of this race.
With 8 minutes to go.
Yeah,
that
he
is
was
rough.
Running right next to Claybaugh for 4th and 5th.
I hate mechanical failures. I had a lot of problems with my pedals back just under a year ago, and got new ones. Love them. But I know how mechanical failures feel. Not fun. Wow, they're going wide there. Curry trying to chase down Real for position, although that is not Real ahead of him. Real's 25 seconds ahead, so maybe not. But the two Liqui cars look good on track anyway. Dave Ferrara and Richard Curry.
It's like Nürnberger's got company again for driver behind, Dan Real. He's had to do a lot of defending this race, that's for sure.
Calgary has brought down the gap to 1.7 seconds. So maybe he can make something work in the late stages here, but he's got to get it going now.
Yeah, this would only be, shockingly, Tyler's second win of the season, despite the fact that he's podiumed in
6 races.
Almost every race. Yeah. He's been there. Has not made any huge mistakes. I can't even really think of any time that he's, I don't know if he's even crashed out of a single race. He had Monza, where his fire alarm went off and had to leave that race for a good amount. But other than that, I mean, this would be a great win on the books.
I'd say.
And if you remember, VIR was his last win, week 2, and that one came down. Terry Calgary Jr. was chasing him down for most of that race, ended up coming right next to him in the final corner. It may be a similarly close race today.
I'm hoping for something. That gap's slowly coming down, but not completely there just yet. Daniel Real slowly chipping away at Zach Nürnberger's lead over him in P7. Going
Not
down
to
straight.
ignore the AM class too much, but for the podium positions, those are pretty well wrapped up now. Good. Oh no, Real.
Daniel Real can't quite get the traction, and he spins. So,
come on, you gotta move, man. Get out of the way. I gotta understand hold your brakes, but you get out of the way, man.
So, not to curse anybody, as we've done once or twice, possibly. P1, Jeff McDonald currently, Christopher Newby in P2, and John Kelly in P3. So, we're gonna let them do their thing, and we're gonna focus in here. The gap's now down to 1.4 seconds between Tyler Langenberg and this man right here, Terry Calgary Jr., our GTD Pro champion.
Last lap, Langenberg 44.1, Calgary 43.8, so 0.3 faster for Terry on that lap there.
Yeah,
with estimated 3 laps to go.
Maybe not. McAllister, though, our race winner. Car looks a little beat up.
Yeah, this is I'm just I'm enthralled just watching this. As a spectator, it's just so exciting to watch this small gap here. Again, what's on, Terry has the championship locked up, but what's on the line here is being able to be the first driver to win every counted race. So if he wins the final 2 races with the drop weeks, he will have won every counted race and got safety points in most of them as well. So there's a big record on the line for him here, trying to do something that Dennis Diaz was actually never able to provide. Of course, in Dennis's years, a little bit lower count of drop weeks, but still something he was never able to muster up.
Yeah, and not even just all possible wins, but I'd call that a perfect season. Max points, even if you don't count safety points. 451? No. 441 points.
You can see Paul Skip there, now 21 seconds back from Terry. It just goes to show the next gear that these two drivers up here fighting for first put up.
Yeah, they are doing very well tonight in those
last lap,
Porsches.
Terry was 0.4 faster.
So next time they cross the line, it will be the last lap. Terry has brought that gap down to under a second.
Into the wall.
Terry's into the wall.
Oh, he got away with that one. He got away with that one.
Just barely. Let's take another look at that. If we use our wonderful rewind function here.
Oh, how advanced.
Just barely. But that gap is far higher than it was now. 1.3 seconds.
Yeah, he was about 0.6 back. Lost over half a second with that. With 1 lap to go, that's got to be wide there, but for both of them. But 1 lap to go, it's going to be a really, really good lap here by Terry to be able to contend.
It's looking Langenberg currently, but anything's possible.
Lap traffic. Keith Roycroft's up there, but I don't think he's close enough to get in the way. Maybe they might have to get around him here. Roycroft not really in a race of his own. He's 8 seconds back from behind, or from ahead, and 18 seconds from behind. So at the line, 1.3 seconds.
All right, white flag is in the air, and there are just a few more corners of racing to be done here in Watkins Glen tonight.
Keith getting out of the way for these drivers here.
Rightfully so. He does not have a part in this battle right now. Down 4/10 on the lap.
But the big passing zones are already gone.
They are.
That was the main two we just went by. Terry going wide again.
Terry just doesn't have the tires through the carousel. Christopher Newby passes Jeff McDonald for P4. I don't know how true that is because Newby's leading. How is Newby leading? Where'd that come from?
Oh,
it's P4
I don't
overall.
know. We're paying a lot of it. There was like a 10-second gap. Something must have happened with McDonald.
McDonald went off track for 7 seconds.
Wow.
Well,
all right. Well, what's wrong about those being sealed up?
Take a quick look at that.
Langenberg safely making it through this corner here. It looks like it's going to be a Tyler Langenberg win, second on the season.
Terry Calgary Jr., after leading most of this race, lost it in the pit stop because of Langenberg's wonderful tactics. It's going yellow. It's going number 91. Tyler Langenberg's going to cross that line and take the win here tonight in GTD Pro. Terry Calgary Jr. is going to take that second place. Not too bad for him. Now Christopher Newby, we're going to shift our attention to him. A 1.3 second gap goes back to Jeff McDonald as Keith Roycroft and Ryan Glover cross the line, take 4th and 5th secured. But it's looking good for Christopher Newby, but we also said that about Jeff McDonald, and now he is second. So I guess we'll have to see here.
Yeah, McDonald lost it in the heel of the previous lap. And just got stuck in the grass right here in this corner. Oversteered and went to the right side. Newby makes it through safely.
All right, just 3 more corners now for Newby. There's 1. And here comes number 2. Newby's looking good. 3 corners now. He's straightening out. Champion Christopher Newby is going to cross the line, and that's going to be win number 6 on the season for Christopher Newby.
And 4th overall in the race. Definitely don't let that go unsaid.
Yeah.
McDonald 5th overall, and Kelly 7th. Only 7 drivers on the lead lap at the end of this race.
So, Jeff McDonald had some issues. That's what happened to him. And we'll see Mr. Newbie appearing in the background. There he is. Scoots by for a very late race pass. And he gets that first place.
That was a really fantastic race. Lots of really good racing. Strategy coming into play. Even the fuel strategy coming into play. And man, yeah, with one race to go, I'm interested to see where these drop weeks are going to put these drivers.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. Looks like Gareth won the upside down class. Says Alex Penn. We see some very idle cars there going up the hill. We're just waiting for somebody to grab the checkered flag.
Joel Lee, who ran out of fuel and is being pushed by Tyler across the line, and that you can see on our screen there.
There we go. He passes the line, and that gives us our results for the night. So,
and just to mention real quick, I just want to say real quick, that was Joel's 17th lap there. So he ran out of fuel, and Tyler did that twice during the race at racing speed. Crazy.
Not too bad, eh? Tyler Langenberg takes his second one of the season. Congratulations. Managed to steal it away from Terry on a wonderfully executed strategy. Terry takes that second place, and then Paul Skip. 1:17 back from our winner tonight. Aaron Claybaugh finishes 4th. Nick Paletti finishes 5th, followed by Tony Watson, Andrew Nary, Sasha Kempter, Brad McCombs, Ryan Tyler, Gareth McAllister, who really won in our hearts, Adrian Garcia Vahil, Don McCloy, Paul Boyle, Marcus Osborne in the Ford.
Then looking at our GTDM results, huge field today. Race winner, yeah, we got to scroll. Race winner, Christopher Newby, yet again on the season. Still trying to if he podiums next week, he'll have podiumed every race of the season. That was counted. Followed by Jeff McDonald in second, just a second back, and John Kelly making his way, starting from the pits, getting up to 3rd place. Followed by Keith Roycroft and Ryan Glover. Then James Kingsbury, Zach Nurnberger, Dan Real, Richard Curry, and Steven Shepard rounding out the top 10. After that, we have Dave Ferrara, Joel Lee, Mark Dillon Jr., Michael Della Sala, James Foreman, Daniel Hingley, Atticus Middleton, Daniel Barnett, and Chris Walker and Jonah Colin.
Alrighty.
I want to know what that flag is. I don't know what that. I'm a big flag guy. I don't know what that flag by Chris Walker is.
We'll have to find that out after this race, and we'll get back to you next week. 2 weeks from now, actually. Because of
week off.
Because of Thanksgiving. Alrighty. So, I think we've got a few people in our waiting room down there. So, let's get some interviews going.
Yeah, I'm going to bring in our 3rd place finisher for GTD AM, which was, just want to make sure I get this up correctly. Why am I? Oh, yeah, John Kelly. My bad. I'm sorry. All right, pull in John Kelly. John, get me in the booth.
Hey, man. How are y'all?
Oh, we're doing great. That was another exciting race. One that you deliberately started from the pits yet again, and yet again ending up on the podium. Is this one that you thought that you'd be able to make it all the way up here again?
I said about halfway through the first stint, my rear tires got really greasy and almost killed myself about twice on a lap. So I had to kind of adjust the strategy a little bit and take it easy 2 or 3 places around the track. But I think at the end I had way more tires than everybody else. Keith, I think, ran into some issues with tires, and then I was able to get by him. So I didn't think I wasn't catching him until he started running out of tires. So yeah, I was just too many people around me that I think I'd have been right in the middle of that crash on the start. It's just, you know. So yeah, I just decided I'd just work my way back through from the back, and really I didn't. There was only a couple of times when I got held up, which was kind of a surprise to me. But I was able to run pretty consistent laps through there. Once I adjusted the target lap time to save the tires, it was just kind of easy peasy.
Yeah, you and Tony Watson were the only two drivers that had only a single incident point, tied for the lead in this race.
Mine was a net code.
A netcode 1X.
Yeah, in turn one, I was on the curb and it gave me a 1X.
Wow. So
yeah, I was like, what the heck was that?
Nearly
I've been
a zero.
on this curb 20 times already. How did I get that? So yeah, that was one of those phantom deals there, because I wasn't way wide, which is where you normally have to be to get one. So, I think my left fronts, at least in my view of the thing, my left fronts were right on the white line on the left side of the curb. So, I was shocked. But yeah, it's pretty easy to avoid incidents here if you don't run into somebody else's wreck. I mean, that's really there's so many blind corners, and you go, you turn around them, yellow flags are always late. So if you're within a second of the yellow flag happening, you're not going to get it until you're in it. So I was lucky that the 2 or 3 I came up on, I was able to avoid. But yeah, that was it should have been a 0X for the lines I was taking. So, but anyway, it's what we live with trying to race each other all over the world on internet. So
you came into the race in 3rd place in the GTDM standings, about 30 points back from James Foreman. However, due to some missed races at the start of the season, you actually have a higher possible total score. I don't know where I think you'll still be a little bit behind Foreman coming into the final race, but with Sebring being the only one up 2 weeks from now, do you feel that you have the pace at that track to secure that 2nd spot in the championship?
Well, no, I don't know that I can get to 2nd the way I calculated it anyway. But yeah, I may have to look at some other cars for Sebring, because whichever car is softest is going to be the fastest there. This Porsche is pretty stiffly sprung, so I'm going to have to look at it and see before that race. I mean, I'm comfortable. I know what the car does, and when it starts to act out, what you can do to kind of help it along and all that. And I hate to give that up, but if one of these cars is soft around there, it is going to make a huge difference. So we'll have to see. But got 2 weeks to figure it out. So is that race going to be in week 13 or is it going to be week 12?
I have not been participating in the officials at all this season, so I cannot remember at all.
Well, that does make a big difference, because the BOP, there's some funny things happen to the BOPs in week 13. So that that might make a difference too. So, and for sure, if it's week 1 of next season, that would be. But it should either be 12 or 13, I think.
I believe it's 12.
Yeah, so that would be good, because, like I say, week 13, anything can happen if you have multi-car deals. I mean, one car could be way faster and another car could be way slower, and they'll fix it before week 1. But if you have one of these kind of things going on, it's difficult. So no, I had fun. It was I'm normally not the greatest here. I usually can stay out of trouble. So. I'm better at Sebring, but it's all going to depend on car setup and see where everybody is there. So, and tires will be a thing there too. I mean, that concrete is very abrasive. So, you got several really long corners, and it might be a tire save race there too, or a change of tire to kind of race. So, it'll be interesting to see that. Everybody knows that track pretty well, I think, so we should have some fun there.
Yep, it was a great race by you today, and good luck next week trying to hunt down that 2nd place spot.
Yeah, we'll keep trying, see what we can do. Thanks,
have a good
guys,
night.
for broadcasting. See you soon.
That was our third place finisher, John Kelly. Going to bring in second place finisher, Jeff McDonald. Jeff, you hear me in the booth up here?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Yes. A little bit of a heartbreaker there at the end of the race. Still, though, a second place finish, really impressive, and one where you ran at the front of the field for much of that race, finishing actually fifth overall in the standings. You've had a lot of strong form over the last few races. Where do you think that has come from this season?
I've just been able to get a little more practice time in. I was out of touch for a while, and kind of when I first joined, I hadn't raced in a few weeks, and wasn't racing real often or regularly, so I just had to put some time in. But and I think the first couple weeks too, I was in the Mercedes, and it just, the Porsche just is a better car for my driving style, I think. So, but it was a handful tonight. The tires got pretty greasy early on, especially on low fuel, which is kind of odd. It would get real loose in the entrance to the boot and in the last left-hander before the right-hander that goes into the pits in the front stretch, and it was like it was a brake bias tweak here and there, but the Porsche usually gets a little bit tight when it starts running out of fuel because the fuel tank's in the front, so you got less grip because there's less weight, and it was just the more fuel that ran out of it, the looser it got. It was really bizarre. I didn't expect it out of that car, so. But yeah, heartbreaker nonetheless. I told Christopher I gave him an early Christmas present. That really sucked, and I had heard it was 2 laps to go when I was entering the boot, and I looked down and I'm like, well, I only got 2 laps of fuel, and I still got to get to the start finish line before that 2 laps start. So I lifted in the entrance to the boot, and then I lifted in the right-hander uphill, and then when I got to the downhill right-hander, when I got to the top of the hill, I pulled the clutch in, and I'm like, well, I could save a little more fuel that way. And then when I was entering it, I must have let the clutch out at the same time I downshifted, and it broke the back tires loose, and it was already loose because it was low on fuel.
Yeah.
And did that death spin, pointed me straight nose into the guardrail with cars coming, and you know what I mean? So you're just stuck there. So, but fortunately it didn't stick into the fence and I couldn't get out. It just, so then I did all I could to chase Christopher down over the next lap and a half, and but he was fast too. I mean, I was watching him on my timing the whole time, and I'd get a couple tenths in one part of the track and he'd get a couple back, and we were pretty solid spread wise, for quite a while, 3-4 seconds, for probably the whole after the second pit stop. So he earned it too. I mean, he ran hard, he stayed there, he was in position when I made a mistake, so got to give it to him.
You were one of the drivers with the least incident points, only 6, and the average was more around 10. So, I mean, still putting in an extremely clean race despite the late incident. Coming into the race, you were 12th overall in points. However, with some drop weeks, actually your possible points remaining was, I think, the 6th most. So after this, and of course, outperforming a couple of the drivers ahead of you in the standings, you're gonna probably jump up a lot of spots. And then we have just one race left with Sebring, with a couple of weeks of preparation for that. Is Sebring one that you think that you're going to do well at, and possibly jump up the standings even some more?
Sebring's a pretty good track for me. I'm best there with a downforce type car like a LMP2 or a Radical or something like that, but I'll get some practice in between now and then just to make sure I'm settled in. The biggest thing to figure out with that car is what it wants for brake bias, and this is the first time like I said, I had the rear tires get hot on me, so I'll have to do a little testing to make sure that I don't have that issue with that car, or if I do, what adjustments I want to make or how I want to compensate my driving style to save the tires a little bit. The first stint tonight, I ran them pretty hard. I thought I was going to have a shot at 4th place there for a little while, trying to remember who was running fourth in front of me, but I made an attempt or two going towards the bus stop, and he closed the door on me, which it was his spot, so he had the right to do it. I just had to throw it out there and see if I could get him to make a mistake or whatever. And then after the second time, I started feeling the rears go away, so I just sat back there and followed him for a while, saved a little fuel, and then just took care of my tires a little better the rest of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Two very near wins in 2 weeks here, or in 3 weeks here, and we'll definitely be rooting for you to get that win next race at Sebring.
I appreciate it. I'll be doing the best I can to get that done. I'd like to get one before the end of the season. That'd be awesome.
Hey, have a good night, man.
All right, thanks so much for all you guys do, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. That was Jeff McDonald. Now I'm going to bring in our, yet again, race winner, Christopher Newby. Chris, get me in the booth.
Hello.
Well, as we mentioned last week, already have the championship sealed up, but putting yet another win in there. One that you finished actually fourth overall. I believe that's I would be surprised if there's any other result. I believe that's the highest that an AM driver has ever finished overall in the standings. Where did the pace come from for this race?
To be honest, I don't really know. I felt quick, like practicing. It's a track I'm really familiar with, and I know it was last season. I think we did Watkins Glen. I was actually leading, I think, the pro guys for a lot of the race until my tires wore out. So maybe it's just the track that favours me, but this time I took a different car than last time. It was the Mercedes. This time I took the BMW, thinking the tire would be easier, and it was. It was so much easier to manage.
Yeah, I was wondering. We've heard a couple different reports of tire wear. I know even the Brad McCombs and the Mercedes actually popped a tire. How were your tires feeling at the end of that race?
I was definitely managing them. They're just trying to not overspeed in corners and just keep the cornering speeds down to stop leaning, particularly on the front left. I think when I took my last pit stop, it was on like 34%. So it was quite low, but in terms of my lap times, it was only maybe sort of in the last 10 laps. Maybe I started losing a decent time to people behind me, like some of the pro guys. But for the majority of the race, my lap times were fine.
Yeah, the not the first time that you've had a win come in the last couple laps of a race. I believe that happened at Bathurst as well. But you're still on pace for if you podium at Sebring next week, podiuming in every counted race, which only you and Terry would be eligible to do that. So, do you think that that's potentially in the results for next race at Sebring?
And all I can do is try. Again, Sebring's a track I've done before, so just give it my best shot. I've actually just checked. I think it might actually be I can finish every result with 1-2.
Wow. Yeah, it's definitely been a really strong season, and that's actually win number 6, more than all of the others, or tied with all of the other drivers combined. So I think that you can be pretty excited about the results from this season. But we hope to see you in the booth again next race at Sebring, and that you can complete that streak there.
Fingers crossed.
Have a good night.
Cheers, guys.
That was our race winner and championship winner, Christopher Newby. I'm going to bring in, we do not have Paul Skip, but I'm going to bring in Terry Cowger Jr. Terry, getting me in the booth?
I gotcha.
Well, that one was certainly a close race. Pretty much had me biting my nails for the last 10 minutes of that. You had some trouble with some lapped traffic at a couple different points, but then you and Tyler were just on different fuel strategies. Were you having some tire wear at the end, or what caused that swap in positions in that pit cycle?
Oh, that was totally his pitch strategy. He was able to save 2 or 3 laps of fuel almost every pit stop. I want to say 2, and then that last one he was able to go 4 laps longer than me. So that's what got him out in front. I just didn't have enough of a lead at that point to keep him behind me. But I picked up on what was going on, and I couldn't save that enough fuel, so I didn't even try. I just hoped for the best.
Yeah, it actually ended up being a difference of 5 seconds of fuel in the pit stops. That last stint. Still, I mean, an incredible race by you. You put in some of the. I think that you had the fastest lap. Or no, wait. I'm sorry. I'm reading this wrong. Still, so one of the cleanest races that we had. You were able to still get the bonus points, which you've got almost every single race this season. We do have Sebring up next. I know that unfortunately this second place does eliminate the possibility of winning every counted race, which I'm sure was on your mind.
I
But
think it was on Dennis's more than mine, to be honest.
he was definitely very invested in that.
Yes, yes, he
He
was.
wants you to get it,
Yeah,
You can still podium every race, which is still certainly
I'll
a feat in its own.
I'll take it. I knew the streak was going to end eventually, um, but I will say, I guess if you can't beat them, join them and switch from the Beamer to the car of the season, I guess.
Yeah, that's certainly been the trend. It's the Porsche, as long as it suits your driving style, seems to go well. Certainly suits your driving style well. We do have a week break until Sebring. Now I think that you'd already expressed that you felt you had a pretty good shot here at Sebring in 2 weeks for putting another win on the tally.
I do. I feel good, but I know Tyler's going to be right there too. I think he won there last season, and I was second. So it'll should be another battle between him and I would imagine, and probably a few others.
Yeah, it's one that a lot of people have run. We're definitely looking forward to it. Again, an official congratulations, by the way, on the locked up championship. We did not have that predicted yet. Last race when you had mentioned that, but yes, you did secure the championship after last race. Of course, even better to put on second place points today. So congratulations on that, and good luck for the future, and we hope to see you in the booth again in 2 weeks at Sebring.
Yeah, thanks guys. Same here.
Have a good night, Terry.
All right, you too.
That was our second place finisher and championship winner, Terry Kiger Jr. Now going to bring in race winner Tyler Langenberg. Tyler, you getting me in the booth?
Hello.
Well, I think that that can pretty much be summed up there to a master class of strategy. As vague of a question as it is, how were you even able to stretch the fuel that long in so many stints?
Just an easy right foot, like lifting and coasting into the braking zones, into the heavy braking zones in the first 2 odd stints, and then kind of roll back into like going full pace in the third stint, and then final stint for the pit stop, I just took way less fuel than Terry did, so I was able to get the jump on him.
Yeah, it was actually a 5-second difference in fuel grab, a 10-second stop for you versus a 15 for him. Which speaking of which, we saw you went 17 laps on your first stint, 17 laps on your third stint, and two other drivers did 17 laps. One of them was Nick Paletti, and the other was the guy that you helped push across the line, Joel Lee, who did 17 on his final. So that just goes to show what the most people were able to do if they had to go 17 laps. So clearly a winning strategy. Now you had caught up later in the race. Terry had some traffic that kind of got in his way, and you ended up bringing that gap down to a second. And then kind of got hampered coming out of the pits on that third stop. Did you think after you had lost those 3 or 4 seconds that it had kind of gotten out of touch again?
Not completely. Like I felt like if nothing else were to happen, like that's the worst thing to happen to me at that point. But whatever. I was still within like striking distance with like fuel saving and taking less fuel at the last stop than he did. So it wasn't like end of the world. It was just minor frustration.
Yeah, I know Terry had said in his interview, he said that once he kind of picked up on what was going on with your strategy, it just wasn't anything he could do to save as much fuel as you did. I do wonder. So you've made that switch from the BMW to the Porsche, as many drivers have done. Is there a difference in how you can fuel save with that car versus the other, or do you find them pretty similar?
At this level of competition, I'd say they're pretty similar to like fuel save. Like all you'd really have to do is like just take your foot off the throttle like 100, 150 meters before the braking zone, and then just do that same thing in every heavy braking zone throughout the race, and you can easily save potentially a lap of fuel. And today was actually 2 laps over Terry, and then 1 lap over someone else in the top 3. And then ultimately, that's what won me the race, is just saving what 2-3 extra laps of fuel right at the end, or during the throughout the race, just progressively fuel saving, taking that, just essentially taking away laps at the end, or laps of fuel that I shouldn't need to
Yeah.
take at the end, if that makes sense.
Another feature as well of this race win here, especially with the gaps, certainly starting in second place overall was important. Higher than you qualified in most of the recent weeks. Where did you find that qualifying form for this race today?
I just like Watkins Glen. It's a great track. I like it.
I do know that you like Sebring. I think Terry had said that you won Sebring last season. I don't know. I didn't check the record books if that was true.
I don't remember what happened last time at Sebring. I know we did
Maybe you won.
Sebring races. One of them I do remember winning. I don't know if that was the last one or not. So, yeah, Sebring, favorite track, home track in real life. So yeah, it's a great track. Can't wait to race there next, or 2 weeks.
Yeah, we certainly know that you'll be one of the competitors up there with Terry and some others. You did deny Terry his potential feat of winning every counted race. Second win on the season. Last win was VIR, another one that came very close down to the line. But we're looking forward to potentially seeing a hat trick of wins next week at Sebring for you.
Yep.
Or next race, 2 weeks from now. Don't want to confuse anybody. But yes, good luck. Hope to see you again in the booth, getting another race win under the belt. And you have a good night.
10-4, thank you.
That was our race winner, Tyler Langenberg. What a fantastic strategy to win that race.
Yeah, really, really solid. I mean, I definitely couldn't have pulled that off, I don't think. But that's why I'm not the winner tonight, and I'm just the one that's watching and saying, wow.
Yeah, I know. I got about as nervous as when I'm driving, though, watching that last 10 minutes. That was thrilling. It's always great to see close finishes at the end, especially when we get to see it for the race win.
Yeah, it is wonderful when we have such an action-packed race like we did tonight, and there's a decent chance we'll see something like that at Sebring in about 2 weeks' time.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Any final comments, Zach?
No, it's just been a great season. I'm excited to see where the points shake out after this, and then we'll have a really good idea of what it's going to look like. Well, actually, right there, I'm Mark's updating them right now. John Kelly only 1 point ahead of James Foreman for second place in GTDM. So yeah, we've got some exciting battles that still are to be fought out for 2 weeks from now. All
right. Well, in 2 weeks from now, I suppose we shall see everybody there. I'm Tom Corner. Zach Purcell joined me in the booth tonight, and